Okay.
I'll do my quick intro.
All right.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Dan McCall here, Jermaine Steele. Welcome to Whatever It Takes Wednesday. This is episode number 25. I'm pretty happy about this episode being halfway through. My first goal was 50 episodes, so it's pretty cool you're here, Jermaine, on the halfway mark. We're going to freestyle and flow this here just a little bit. I'm actually going to tag Jermaine while we're here hanging out. I'm going to go ahead and do that right now, Jermaine. And once you confirm that, we'll go ahead and dive into our interview here.
Okay.
So I'm tagging you right now, Jermaine. You can go ahead and take your time and confirm that. You know, if you guys see us here, we're not going to be able to see who's looking at us because we're using a special tool. But, you know, feel free to give me and Jermaine some love. You know, hit the like button, the love button. You know, give us some love. Any questions that you guys have anytime during the interview, you guys can go ahead and drop them down below. We will be able to see the comments here. I'll actually comment here. Drop any questions.
So I've got a tag 4 hours ago. Daniel, it's not allowing me to add the video to my wall yet.
Okay.
But I'll go ahead and add the post that you tagged me in.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, I tagged you in it, so you should get it sometime soon. If not, you could do it later or whatever. Either way.
Okay. Okay. Perfect.
So that's done. So, all right, cool, awesome, man. So, welcome back, Jermaine. I see you were just in Hawaii. That's pretty cool. That's one of my bucket list spots. We're planning on going there ourselves too in a year from now. How was the trip, man? Was it good?
Man, it was amazing. I mean, like you tagged me in the post earlier. Like you said, I'm a father first, and it was amazing to be able to take my kid for, you know, almost 30 days. He graduated high school, so we had been planning this for like a year. And it seemed like it took forever to get here, but then when it did, it's like it went like that, you know. So I don't care if you got like a week or 30 days. You can't spend enough time in Hawaii, man. It was amazing. Yep.
Oh, man, it's awesome. So how long did you say you were there for?
Almost 30 days.
Oh, wow, that's a long vacation. That's awesome.
Yeah. We're very blessed, man, like you. So, you know, like I said, my son graduated, you know, I mean, he's like the opposite of what I was when I was a kid. You know what I mean? So to see him like 18 and just thriving, he's ready to go to college. I mean, it's an amazing experience, bro. So
yeah, that's awesome. That's awesome, man. You're an inspiration. So's your son, man. So I follow you guys. I see you tagging your son. He's doing some cool stuff too.
Appreciate
so
you.
yeah. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna first peel back the layers of Jermaine Steele. Let everybody get to know you. You know, where you're from, who you are. So
Okay.
that's gonna be our first question, man. Like, you know, before everything, man. Like, who is Jermaine Steele, man? Like, where are you from, man?
So yeah, I'm from Central California. I grew up, you know, in a bad neighborhood. I grew up in an area where the only thing that you could really do was kind of fit in, you know. So from like 12 years old to like 21, I was really like lost. You know, I was, you know, in the streets doing things I shouldn't have been. But I had a job, so I always knew that I was gonna, you know, do better for myself and my kids. And so I had my first son, like I said, the one that just graduated. And I knew that I needed something better in life. I knew that I had to switch my mindset or I'd be dead or in jail, you know. And then I started working for a company. We'll just leave it generic. We'll say a fast food company, right? And you can get 2 tacos for 99 cents there. I think everyone can fill in the lines. And I was like 15 years old, man. So like I'm like literally on the fence, like getting in trouble, working a job, getting in trouble, working a job. But I'm like, I like money better, you know. And so I started to get my head on straight. About 21, I met Ashley, who I'm with now. So it's been like almost 16 years. And from there, you know, I moved out to Lemoore. So I moved like 30 miles away from where I lived to try to just kind of, you know, get away, right? Because it was like too much going on in the city. It's probably like 1 million plus people where I live. And there's about 20,000 people where I live now. And I call it Candyland because it's really good for the kids. It's a good community. But to speed it up a little bit, I started working back at this fast food company, and I went from like cook to assistant manager to general manager, and I started running like 3 and 4 locations. So about 30 years old, about, I don't know, 7, 8 years in, I got sick, right, from stress. So I wanted something else. I went online, you know, make money online like a lot of people might have, and started searching for something. So from 2011, when I got fired, because I shifted my, you know, my focus from the job to what I've got going online, I ended up getting terminated, right? And so from 2011 to about 2013, I was struggling. I mean, I like went $60,000 in debt. You know, literally like a lot of people, you know what I mean? I lost a lot of money and I was just looking for something. So I started getting into different MLM companies, different, you know, affiliate companies. I think we've been part of the same company, some of them at least. And, you know, I did that whole thing. We made $250,000, 300,000. And it was like, if I can do this in like 2 years, right, and offset my 75K per year job that I got fired from, then what could I do if I really put all my efforts into it? So I kind of shifted from MLM, network marketing space into like e-commerce, where we're at now, consulting, real estate consulting, things like that. But again, I was just lost, man. I was like everybody else in 2012, trying to figure this stuff out. And Ashley's coming in the same room going like, what are you doing, man? Quit, because this doesn't work, you know? And so to kind of cap it out, man, we flipped that, 360'd it. I don't have a, you know, revolving debt. I went from a 400 credit score to like an 800 credit score plus. We're working on buying our second home. We travel 80% of the year. And we help a lot of people. You know, that kind of, I guess, sums it up. So it's been my path, man.
Man, that's awesome, man. I love to get to know you better and hear all that. It's funny. Somebody just came in, already paid. Somebody just bought something from me. Nice. I know you like those pings, right? You get.
That's the thing, though, Daniel, is I notice that every time you come on a live or give value or you know, me or you or anybody, the money comes in. You know, like they say,
right. It's like it just got attracted or something, just like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, sure. Love that. Did I just cut you off when you were getting ready to say something else?
No, I was just going to say that our value is a direct reflection of how we're paid in the marketplace. You know what I mean? The amount of value that we put out is just, it's that. Yeah. So I notice that a lot of times. I'll be on a live or a phone call or something, and the money's coming in, you know?
Yeah, like something that's like that's something that's like indirect, right? Yep. It's like indirect, but like you're delivering value. Yeah, I heard that first from T. Harv Eker, like the Millionaire Mindset. Like you're paid in direct proportion to the value you bring to the marketplace, and I never forgot it. And I always, whenever I'm not making as much money as I think I should or want to make, I'm always like, I always ask myself, like, am I bringing enough value to the marketplace? Am I doing this right? You know, I question myself and stuff. Like, I don't know if you do that at all too. But
I think we all do, man, at some level, you know. And so the only thing you can do is just jump in and do interviews like this. And I mean, to me, this is amazing value. I saw a couple of the ones. I think I saw one with Franco, and you know, you're like on number 25. So I mean, you're definitely busting out that value, bro.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah. I know a lot of people start these kind of things up and they don't keep going, and that's something big about my name. I like people to know that I'm consistent and that I always keep coming. You know.
I agree.
I know you're the same way too, man. I'm like, there's Jermaine again. What's he up to?
Mm-hmm.
I'm always peeking, like, what's he doing over there? What's Jermaine up to? I know he's up to something. He's always up to something.
Always, man. We got to stay at it. We got to stay at it.
Love it, man. Love it. So I appreciate you, man. Appreciate you coming on here. So I got a question for you, and this is a cool one because a lot of people, this is valuable to people out there too.
Okay.
Like, what do you do because you're such a widespread entrepreneur? Like, right. You're into lots of different stuff. And I forgot to mention the real estate thing. I'll actually go back and re-edit this okay. video. And when I put it up on YouTube, this will be up on YouTube too as well. Mm-hmm. But once I put it on there, I'm going to update that the real estate part of it. So back to my question that I was thinking about is, so what do you tell people when people ask you, like, what do you do? Like, what's Jermaine Steele do? Especially when you get it from people that aren't entrepreneurs, it's even harder for them to understand you because they're like, are you a cashier? Are you like they're thinking of like a simple job,
right?
You know, it's like, so what do you tell people when people ask you, like, what do you do, Jermaine?
You know, Daniel, I always kind of try to keep it in light. And, you know, a lot of people, it's funny because you'll meet people and, you know, I like you, I'm a family guy. You know what I mean? I like to think that I'm fairly humble. I don't walk around like, you know what I mean? My, you know what, doesn't stink. So a lot of people will even come at me like, hey, dude, can I help you make an extra $5,000, $10,000 a month? You know? And I'm kind of like, you might be able to, but it might be the other way around, you know? So you get around a lot of people who, and I learn from everybody. I'm very open. But, you know, when you're doing 40, 50,000 a month average, it's like, I don't even try to explain anymore. It's like, I I'm at the top of this pyramid, you know, those pyramid things. And they're like, yeah, I'm at the top, you know, and I'll try to laugh it off or something. But if I'm talking to somebody that really, you know, can understand my value, that might be a potential client, you know, I'll just let them know that overall we do a lot of, we do a lot of import export with e-commerce, and that'll kind of ease them into the whole marketing game, because I feel like anybody can understand buying from China low and selling high, or buying from the US and selling high for that matter. Right. So I'll try to kind of ease them in, if, like I said, if I'm being serious. If not, I won't even try to explain myself anymore, because a lot of people, you know, nowadays, it's sad to say, are very judgmental. You know what I mean? But so I just try to give them as much value or knowledge as possible. So if they're asking me questions about what I do, I always try to, you know, return that with the question, you know, so I might answer a little bit and I'll say, what about yourself? What do you do? So I'm always more interested in them than they're probably interested in me, because if I told them the amount of money that we make a month, they probably wouldn't believe us anyway, you know. So I would try to kind of flip the conversation. And then I realized that a lot of times when people are talking about themselves, they lighten up a little bit, you know what I mean? And they're a little more open. Yeah. And then they'll see things. They'll like look at your Facebook, or they'll be like, oh, wait, this dude just went to Hawaii for a month. I can't do that. He just did this or did that. So, you know, I'm never really trying to ever kind of convince anybody. And I know it wasn't your question. Your question was, what do you tell people? But again, I like to make light of it. I'm at the top of this big old pyramid. You know what I mean?
Yeah, just like to make a joke. Yeah. Yeah, I like everything you said, and I can relate to everything you were saying too. Like, you're talking about having a conversation and just like flipping the conversation. Like in sales, that's called, you know, like that's called like controlling the conversation pretty much. Like whoever asks the most questions is controlling the conversation. It's always funny when I talk to other people that are in like the sales space or marketing space, where they keep asking me lots of questions, and I keep trying to like ask them questions to get control of the conversation again. Like, like all my friends, but I don't know. It's pretty cool and pretty chill when you talk to people that've been in this space for a long time, because you could just have a real conversation. Like a lot of people are just afraid to have conversations. Like it seems like to me, and I do the same thing. I ask lots of questions because I could probably, you're probably going to tell me that, you know, that you agree with this. When you're asking lots of questions, you're basically thinking in your head, like, how can I help this person? Is there a way that I can help this person? I'm not sure if I can or not. I got to hear how they answer these questions. And then you can kind of tell if the conversation is worth continuing to have, you know, for a long period of time or not, you know. And a lot of times if you can tell where they're at, you're like, all right, well, I got to take another call. You know, it's great. Nice meeting you and stuff like that. You know, you don't really, because you don't want to sit around and talk about nothing. You want to like be productive. You want to make money, right? You know, so. Yeah.
I definitely can kind of add to what you're saying. You know, I get a lot of like Me Too people, you know, so it's like you'll ask a question and then maybe you will say something to kind of let someone know what you've accomplished, and they'll be like, oh, yeah, we call them the Me Too's, right? They'll be like, oh, yeah, me too. You know, it's like I just got a new car. Me too. You know, it's like people are always trying to kind of own the moment. So a lot of times I back up. I let them just be. You know, it's like you got the better car. You got the better job. You got the better house, you know, and it is what it is, because to me, it's like we know what we're doing, and there's no need to prove that to anybody, you know. And that's one thing I've learned in this space is if you're trying to, you know, prove anything to the industry, you're in the wrong industry, man, because you got to prove it to yourself first, you know? Yeah. So. Yeah. Definitely. I love that. I'm taking that with me. I never heard of that. The Me Too's. I had to drop that in the comment thread. I'm gonna remember that. Next time somebody's saying that to me, I'm gonna be like, Jermaine Steele. You're thinking of you on that one. Right. So here's the next question. It's a pretty good one, I think. Okay. And there's no right or wrong answer to it or anything like that. Just a matter of just, I mean, it might have just been since the beginning. What got you into entrepreneurship? Do you feel like you always were an entrepreneur? Like, was there like, were you working a job and you got pissed off and you're like, I'm tired of this shit or something like that? Or like, what was there anything that triggered that in your life? Let's just say that like I grew up as an only child. So, you know, I was raised by my mother. My dad wasn't there. And I always had to find creative ways to make money, right? And I think people are pretty smart. They can kind of read between the lines. So from like an early age, I was an entrepreneur, if you will. I mean, whether it's like selling lemonade or doing whatever I could to try to have food or money for food for school because, my mom was working 2 jobs and we were broke, So at the end of the day, I really just was looking for a way to be able to have, I know this is super going way back or deep, but as a kid, I just wanted a Nintendo, right? I'd go to my friend's house to play Nintendo and I'm like, why do they have, games and we don't? So in my head, seriously, that's going way back, but I always had to find ways to be able to, provide for myself because at an early age, 11, 12 years old, I literally was providing for myself at a certain point because we didn't have money, But to move forward a little further, as I got a job, at 15 years old, I was 15 and a half. I was super young. My son's almost 15 and I can't even see him really having a job at that age. So I feel like I was super young. I think you got to be even 16 now before you could be 15 and a half with the work permit. But to speed it up, point is that when I got the job, I realized that, you could work hard to make money or there's things that you could do to leverage your time. So I was like, wait, leverage my time and make money, find something and flip it, buy it and sell it. Or I could work a job and make the same amount of money. I can work for 8 hours and make $40, or I could find this thing and sell it and flip it and make $40, So in my mind, I'm like, how can I do this on a larger scale? So again, it's always been there, man, I guess, if that helps.
Yeah. I just love, like I said, throughout this interview too, there's no right or wrong answer to anything. It's just a matter of just hearing your perspective, and your perspective helps, I always tell people it's good to listen to everybody's perspectives and ultimately create your own. That's and I'm sure you can probably relate to that too, because I know you're a student, to life and a student to business, and the best students are the best teachers, and the best teachers are the best students, right?
I agree, bro. And I'm not just taking this as a moment to say this, but bro, I love what you got going on. You know what I mean? Your interviews, like you said, you're consistent. You're just real about it, and I think there's a lot of people out there that are giving a perception that a lot of this is not real, the flashy cars or the flashy this and that. And don't get me wrong, I like lifestyle, but people like to see this, you know what I mean? So I love it.
Oh yeah. It relates to me pulling that Facebook post off you that one day. I was like, yeah, I like what Jermaine was saying. Then I was talking about fun versus fulfillment, and
right.
The material things are fun, they're fun,
Mm-hmm.
But fulfillment is the family, the giving back, being part of something that's bigger than you, and all that stuff,
I will say this, Daniel. The last month, I've even had people hit my inbox and be like, dude, what's going on? Are you okay? Right? And I'm like, dude, I'm enjoying life, and I think a lot of times when we pull back from what people are accustomed to, they feel like they're missing something, right? And a lot of times it's just because you do FBA, right? You do Amazon, you do some e-commerce, and I do as well. So there's things in business that you could do to actually pull back and not have to do, as much. And so I built up for a year to be able to spend a month at, unbothered, if you will. Now we had a little 3-day event, had some family out, but other than that, I spent 3.5 weeks, 3 weeks total, just hanging with my family, And so a lot of times when you kind of pull back, people even kind of start to wonder, what are you doing? Or, what's going on with them? But, again, it really felt good to be able to pull back and then our income not drop, So, yeah.
Yeah, that's great, man. It's great. Yeah, I can totally relate to that too. I have different things that, it's good to keep a presence on social media and online and stuff like that. But, but sometimes, there's lots of other ways to make money that aren't really on social media anyway,
Right.
I use Craigslist, and I use, I'm making money on Amazon and eBay. I'm not on Facebook that much, as much as some other people are, I like Facebook,
Yes.
You know what I mean? But I'm on there, I'm trying to be productive. I can't be on there liking everybody's post all the time and,
Yep.
All this stuff, to make myself more attractive on there and stuff like that. I'm just, just like you, just, running real businesses in the background. And so awesome stuff, man. Awesome stuff. So this leads us to my next, let's go to this one. I got another question I ask you too.
Okay.
But, let's go to this one too. So obviously the last month's been been probably different than your last 6 months or something like that, because you're in Hawaii for a whole month.
Sure.
So,
Right.
so you'll get the flow of this. And I actually asked my friend Paul on our last interview I did this question too, and we got into a conversation actually on the phone even prior about being in creation mode and being in marketing mode. And they're like, so what I'm trying to say is, like, I was getting ready to ask you, and I am going to ask you, is like, do you have any morning rituals, and like, what's your day to day like? And like, that's why me and his conversation went into creation mode and marketing mode, because they're a little bit different. I mean, my morning rituals are working out and listening to personal development and reading and things like that in the morning, no matter which mode I'm in. But so what do you have any morning rituals?
Yep.
And what's your day to day like?
Okay. So I wrote a book. My second book actually talks about daily routine. So I got to a point where, like, literally every single day, and John Maxwell says our success is determined by our daily actions, right? So I got to a point that where, in my business, I was doing sometimes 10 videos a day, 5 videos a day. I was writing 2 blogs. I was posting on Facebook. I was posting in groups. I was automating Instagram. I mean, I was like everywhere, right? And I was doing this like consistently every single day. And to a degree, I still do, but now I outsource a lot. So like in my second book, I talk about, I wake up every morning early. So a lot of times people will message me at 5 a.m., 6 a.m., 7 a.m., 8 a.m., and then they'll even drop a question mark, right? You ever get that question mark? It's like, I got a life, dude, right? So my morning ritual is literally, I don't care who it is, unless it's an emergency with one of my clients or something like that, or family, of course. I will not inbox anybody until 9 a.m. PST, right? So from 5 to 6 when I wake up, it's setting up ads. It's going 15 minutes into one of my books, right? I got them out here, and then I don't watch TV, so out on the TV, I have layers of books, right? So like if I'm sitting there and they're watching TV, I'll pick up a book, right? But point is, like, I'm creating ads. I'm doing my morning ritual, like you said. I'm reading books. I need to add working out. I did walk 10 miles in Hawaii, right? We went to Diamond Head, and that was cool. But cool. I should probably splice that in. But again, that 5 in the morning every single day until about 8 or 9. That's my creation mode, and I wrote about it in my book. And I tell people that you have to have that, right? So like you said, it's just about being consistent. So you're 25 episodes in, before you know it, you're going to be 325 episodes in. But it's just because you're consistent. And someone would look at you and say, oh, man, that guy's lucky, right? Or that guy's I didn't realize we could see the questions up here. But yeah, that guy's lucky, or he's got something going on that I don't, but they don't realize that you just had that routine every single day. So again, whether I'm blogging on like Steam It, or I'm blogging on my regular blog, or sending out, tutorial videos. And now my son, he's actually helping with a lot of we're doing a lot of tutorials that will sell like Amazon as an affiliate or Amazon as a drop shipper. So anyway, he started to put together a lot of content that we're uploading every morning, so it's just like it's literally just the consistent flow of, creative mode. So I think that's why, like, when you asked me the time zone I really wanted the earliest time zone, because I get up fairly early, you know what I mean? And I want to, not to sound selfish, but I want to come on, give some value, bang this out. And then, I've got a few things after this, and then I'm done for the day. It's like 11 o'clock right now, or 10:30. So again, for me, it's just about discipline and knowing that what I'm doing is applying to my business, So I don't think I really said anything new, but my routine looks like that. It's reading books, it's setting up ads, it's checking on client accounts, because, we have a lot of accounts that we manage. And so it's really just making sure that order is in place so that my day can go a lot smoother. So a lot of people, my family, especially that knows me, they call me OCD, because I'm really meticulous about certain things, where it's like, this has got to be in order to make sure that this works and flows. So I'll spend 8 hours sometimes, and I don't, nobody really wants to spend that time in their business, but I'll spend 8 hours to make sure I can spend the whole weekend bother free, or whatever. Make sure that I took care of my clients, make sure that, their ads are running, or make sure that this is done or that is done to make sure I can enjoy the weekend. So that's actually why, I went into calling beast mode, because it's like when you get into beast mode, you don't stop, right? Productivity mode. So that's kind of where all that came from. So I used to wake up every morning and I would motivate my people to do like 10 videos a day, 15 videos a day. And to me, that's super productivity mode. So to me, it's like getting ahead of people, doing today what others won't, to live tomorrow like others can't, so.
Love
that's
it.
kind of what my day looks like, man.
Love it. Everything you shared. Getting a little echo all of a sudden. Did you hear that echo too?
It's a little bit. It sounds like, let's see, maybe that's me.
Oh, it looks like it went away now.
Okay.
Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah, I love everything you shared. I was going to ask you, I was going to go from that into like time management. Then you started talking about your time management book, talking about your schedule. So you kind of went right into it. So it worked out pretty good. So do you do this is something that I do too. Like I try to like be super productive like early in the day too, like similar to you. Yeah. But sometimes I can't shut it off. Like I just like the work. I don't know if you're like that or not, but like same thing like you. Like I don't really watch TV. Like entrepreneurship's like a sport. Like some people like to watch football. Like that's what I like to do. Too. It seems like you're like that too. But do you structure your time and your weekends to where you kind of try to like be in like family mode on the weekend? It seemed like you were kind of touching on that a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, like.
Because you know how like some entrepreneurs, just sorry to interrupt you. You know how like some entrepreneurs are like, no time off, team no sleep, and 7 days a week, and all this stuff. Like, do you structure your lifestyle like to where you have like structured downtime at all, or?
Yeah, I mean, for me, like I have a scheduler that I have people like actually schedule appointments, so it's no surprise. So people like nowadays are like, oh, you mean I got to schedule an appointment now? Like, I know you, bro. Like, you know what I mean? I'm like, yeah. It's not like that. It's like nobody gets my free time except my kids. So to kind of, I guess, touch on that a little bit more, I'm the type of person where, again, like you said, I did touch on it, but I'll spend that time up front to make sure that I'm on it as a coach or as a consultant, and I'll actually hit them up and say, hey, what's going on with this or what's going on with that? Because I know that Friday, Saturday, Sunday, I'm not going to be taking calls or I'm not going to really be responding to messages. So I just try to be as, ordersome, if that's even a word, have as much order as possible. Because if not, you're going to end up getting, backed up. You're going to end up, in a position where you've taken so much money from clients and now you have to deliver, when you could have just been consistent. So even on the weekends, to answer that question, I might spend an hour in the morning, 2 hours in the morning, because I got ads to make sure that they're running well, or kill ads, or start ads, or maybe I'll have my team upload some inventory, do something small in the morning so that I'm still going. So as much as I say, don't bother me, or people know that my weekends are mine with my family, I still have certain things that have to get done. It's a business. But like you, I look in the back, like I said, and I really like what you got going on, because I see – people might not see it, but what I see behind you is order. You know what I mean? Like I see that you have your own routine. You have, the package there. I don't know if that's going out or it's a return or what. You got your tape gun. You have certain things in order. And so I think a lot of times people miss that. They talk about consistency and planning and daily routine, but what about just order? And don't get me wrong, we got work to do, right? I think we all do. But at the same token, whatever that order means for that person for the day will set them up for, the weekend or the week or whatever it may be. So I just believe in, I believe that we know when we have work to do, right? And we know that, like, man, I feel good today. I knocked out this interview. I sent out packages. I talked to Franco, or whatever it is going on that day in your life. You feel good about it, and you're like, you know what? Let me kick back now and let me do what I do. So I just believe that we as entrepreneurs, we know when we're being lazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I love that. It's a good reminder to myself too, like, and I can relate to that too, like feeling like I did enough, because when you don't feel like you've done enough, it's burning inside you. You're like, oh man, but you're like sitting there.
Let me say this one thing, man, because we did like scooters in Hawaii. We did like Diamond Head hikes. We did like almost everything in Waikiki or Honolulu you could do, right? it did irk me. There was days where like, dude, like I so wanted to just pull out my phone and like get on a call or like do something on my phone. But the discipline that I had, the same discipline that I have to make sure that I get things done was the same discipline that I pulled from my pocket to make sure that I didn't, you know, go on my phone as much, or I didn't do the things that I normally would do. You know what I mean? So having things in order really set that up. So like I said, it's very tempting, man. No matter what we say, like we have a routine and we're set up, and you know, I don't want to work harder than I have to, because there's two different type of entrepreneurs. There's the 4-hour work week, and then there's the entrepreneurs that don't sleep, right? And to me, the ones that don't sleep, number one, that's fairly unhealthy. I did it in the restaurant. I got sick at age 30. I got shingles because I was so stressed out. And so, you know, I like to have a balance now, you know?
Yeah. That's great, man. That's great. I'm feeling everything you're saying, and it's good. It's like I always say, like when I do these interviews or when I'm on somebody else's call or whatever, like it's like you just get a higher awareness of the information. That's why I just love all this stuff, and I love everything you shared, and it just, you know, gives me a higher awareness of the same kind of stuff. And I like what you said too about the 4-hour work week. I actually just finished listening to that in my car. I finally actually just listened to it on the 4-hour work week. It was a little bit more boring than some of the other audios, just because it's read by someone else, you know, like Gary Vaynerchuk or Grant Cardone or somebody like that. They read their own stuff. Yep. But I listened to it. I actually listened to it a couple extra times because I was like, it's a little bit slow. It's got like this calm voice in the background. So I'm like, this is a little bit boring, but I wanted all the information, you know what I mean? I'm like, I need this information, you know, it's Tim Ferriss. I need his information. He's like, you know, he knows what he's doing. Mm-hmm. So I think there's a happy medium too in between that too. What you said, like the 4-hour work week kind of entrepreneur and the one that doesn't sleep. And, you know, it's like, you just got to find what works for you. And that's why all the perspectives are great, you know, like all these perspectives help you form your own perspective and help you find out what's best for you. And I think we can feel it on the inside, you know, like in our gut, you know, like we could feel like when I was just touching on, like feeling like that burning feeling, like, you know, you didn't do enough, like that day, you're like, you feel it on you know, you didn't do enough. Yep. You know what I mean? Yep. So, and then, you know, like when you're on vacation, you're like, I want to do this, but I know my family deserves me to be here present too. Like I need to be present with my family, probably. You know? So you're like being pulled two different ways. Like, you know, you're just Jermaine Steele, you know, still, you're just right there. You're like, I want to do body. But hey, we can have it all though, man, too. We can have it all abundance, right?
I agree. Yep. I'll throw this one out there for the couples just to be kind of like transparent and open. And I don't know if you've ever got it, but I have, and I'm just going to be transparent, you know. A lot of times we'll be on the phone and it's like, you know what I mean? Can you get off your phone already? And again, you know, that's normal. I mean, again, I throw that out there for the couples just to be transparent, because I know I'm not the only one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's the wife or the husband or whatever, whoever's the entrepreneur, or maybe both. And one's working harder than the other. It's kind of like, you know, can you pay attention to me, you know, or whatever, or maybe they're talking to you and it's like, wait, what, you know? So I've saw people do it, you know. So again, just a kind of a transparent moment there, because you know, everyone's got to get through this stuff, and I think that if people hear this stuff more, they can realize that, you know what, it's kind of normal, right? And that might sound bad. But again, I've saw plenty of other entrepreneurs, whether it's with their spouse or their colleagues or students or mentors. They're like, hey, man. And they're like, you know, oh, wait, what? You know, because they're still, you know, just into their phone. But again, like you said, just having that medium, man, that balance between the 4-hour work week and knowing that you're getting stuff done, you know? So
yeah. Especially, Jermaine, if somebody's saying something you don't like, right? You're like, hold on a second. I'm trying to message this person back. Like, what? You ever get one of those?
Bro, it was not too long ago that I did that. I'm like, oh, I'm trying to do something. You know, yeah.
And you get mad at your family, like, you better leave me alone. I'm trying to message. This is really important. Those guys, so I don't like what they're saying right now.
Yeah. Exactly. Yep.
That's great. I like to hear that you're like me that way. So here's one that goes back to your Hawaii trip here. It's you know, I'm sure it ties in your Hawaii trip. Like and you can help somebody. You might be able to help somebody else get clarity in their life. You know, like with why they're doing what they're doing. So like, what's your why, Jermaine? Like, why do you do what you do, man?
So I mean, you know, honestly, internally, I've learned one thing, and a lot of people will say my kids, my family, of course, you know, God being first, right? But a lot of times what I've realized is that, you know, people, again, they'll say my kids, my family, this is why I do what I do. And I think that that one is the obvious, right? But the one thing that I learned is that if you're not doing it for yourself, right, then how can you lead by example and show the people that are influenced by you, or show your children that they should do things for themselves, right? If I keep walking around saying all the time that, hey, son, I'm doing this for you, I'm doing this for you, or you know, my oldest son, hey, son, I know you know you're 18 now, I really want you to get this stuff, I'm doing it for you, right? So what I realized about 2011, 2012, one of my my mentors, Desmond, he really helped me to believe in myself, you know, and that was a problem that I had. And once I realized that, you know what, do this for Jermaine, because Jermaine wants better in life. You know, yeah, you have your why, your kids, like, again, that's an obvious. But if you can't internalize what you're doing and why you're doing it because you feel good about yourself, because you're not the person that you used to be, because you do deserve it. You know, a lot of people on the internet think they don't deserve things because whether they've done bad things in life or you know, they just have that mindset. And so, again, I've learned to do things for myself. Now, would I say that I'm the total why? Probably not. Again, the obvious is there. It's my kids. But I just wanted to give some value in the sense of once I realized that I am doing it for me. And it's okay. It's not selfish to do things for me. That was when, you know, I was able to really explode. So.
Oh man, I love that. I love that. I think that's going to help somebody out there for sure too.
I hope so, man.
Yeah, because that's deeper. It's a little bit of a deeper level of your why. And yeah, it reminds me of the same. I think I said it on one of the other interviews too. Like I once heard somebody say, you know, like not like I'll take care of you if you take care of me. It's like I'll take care of me for you if you take care of you for me. So it's like that whole like selfish thing. That's a good selfish. Like, you know what I mean? It's like you gotta take care of yourself. And it's like if you know, like you're out, you feel sick. You're like, I'm sick. I need to eat something. You're like, oh, why aren't you feeding your kids first? I'm like, I can't feed my kids if I pass out. Like it's like if you're on an airplane and they say you have to put on your own oxygen mask first before you help somebody else. Because if you go to try to help somebody else first and then you die, now they die too. So that's that kind of. Yeah,
I got chills, man, because when I was on the plane back from Hawaii, so like last week, I actually heard that and I thought about it. So when you just said it, like, you literally gave me chills, bro. Like literally what you said, I thought about it. I didn't think about it from that perspective, but I heard it and I thought about it.
Gave me the goosebumps too. I just got them.
So man, that's a very good analogy, perspective, whatever you want to call it. Yeah, man, I love it.
Yeah, all of that. Like, I'll take care of me for you if you take care of you for me. You get own oxygen mask first. All that tying into what you said about your why and actually putting yourself first. So that just helped me with a better awareness too. So I appreciate the talk for sure.
Yeah, man, good stuff.
So here's one of the last well, there's a couple more. Okay. So here's this is my favorite one here. This is my favorite one. I don't know if you heard on one of the other interviews or not, but because I know you watched one or two or so. If you could go back in time, if Jermaine Steele could get in a time machine and go back in time to Jermaine Steele when he first got started as an entrepreneur, like what would you tell yourself? What kind of advice would you give yourself? And obviously this ties into somebody just getting started out there, you know?
Yeah, the infamous question, right? So number one, you know, I would find someone and give them what I had. Like literally, I would find someone that has been where I want to go and I would pay them, right? And if I didn't have the money, I would go and do like some of my students have done. I would sell my car. I would borrow money. I would get a loan. I would get another job to get seed money to look, you know, or to get where I'm looking to go. But again, I would do whatever I had to do to hire that mentor, to hire that person to save like 9 months, to save a year. I spent 9 months a year and probably 20 grand when I could have paid someone $5,000 to $10,000 to learn everything. So that would be one thing. And then the second thing I would do is I would do exactly what I did with like the affiliate stuff and getting into launches and involved with that to get my name out there. I would do all that exactly the same, but I would be more strategic and productive about it. So I would have a mentor that was kind of like coaching me through mindset, helping me believe in myself, giving me the path. But then I would know that wouldn't be the true winner. I still have to create and be productive. So I'd wake up every day and I would, instead of doing 10 or 15 videos like I used to, true story, I do 25, I do 30. I'd spend more hours than I used to, even though I used to spend 12, 16 hours sometimes. On those days I was being lazy, or I saw a video once and it says stop barbecuing and start selling, right? Even though I didn't really go to a lot of the barbecues, but I wouldn't go to any barbecues. I would totally condemn myself to the goal that I've set out for myself. I would just kind of block everything else out. And I would have gained a year or two to where I could be going to Hawaii for a month last year or the year before, because I took the initial time, because, now I know, hire a mentor, be productive, stay in creative mode, never get out of beast mode, and do that consistently for, X amount of years, whether that's 9 months, a year. And then once the income started to layer in, I would reinvest back into my mentor. Granted, the results were that of what I was looking for. And just wash, rinse, and repeat.
Yeah, that's great, man. That's great. I love asking that question and hearing people's perspective on it. And yeah, I totally agree with those things. And I love what you said about like I call it like compressing time. Like how like Tony Robbins, like he was doing like a speech every day, in relation to other speakers that were doing once a month. He was doing every day. So like 30 days, it's like 30 months experience. You know what I mean? So I really like, once I heard that from Tony Robbins, the one time I heard it, it's always stuck to me. Like, all right. And then I heard Grant Cardone talk about quantity. You can't get the quality until you did the quantity. You probably heard of that one maybe too, and so that relates to what you're talking about too. So
yeah, I mean, I kind of like learned that from I don't know if you heard of Mike Koenig's Traffic Geyser. It's like an old software tool where you could syndicate your videos and stuff like that. So I don't even know if it works anymore, if it's still a thing or what, but he had a course for $2,000. And I bought this course, and honestly, when I went into it, I was like, oh, here we go. I bought another set of videos for $2,000, just videos, right? Like no coach, no sheet work, just videos, right? But when I started watching these videos, it was where I learned, it was called Traffic Mojo. And it was all about like being everywhere at once. And so then when I heard Grant Cardone speak about it, because I heard the audio or video that you're speaking about, it just like really set in, because like you said, you can't have the quality without the quantity, right? So kind of being everywhere, having those things that are drawing people in. And then of course, like these lives, they're drawing people in, and then that's the quantity to get people there. And then, the quality obviously is already there. So, again, Mike Koenig's, that course that I bought, and point was to say that when I bought it, I thought I'm being honest, like I thought I got ripped off, I was like, man, but then when I started watching those videos and I started applying them, that was where, I started, I was on Twitter and I was getting messages, and then I was on Instagram, or I was on, whatever was, back then. I mean, Snapchat wasn't even a thing, but it was like Instagram and Twitter, and, Periscope came out shortly after. But it was like all these things that I could do to put myself out there. So, I mean, people don't realize, like I just said, Periscope, Twitter, Be Live, you've got, Steam It is a blogging platform, there's so many different things you could do to put yourself out there. But most people are focused on the secrets. Like, Daniel, you're making, X amount a month with FBA. What's your secret, bro, to have all those boxes in front of your house, right? The secret is to be consistent and work hard and know what sells and find a good product and, whatever. But point is, people are focused on that secret, and they're not focused on the action items that actually get them there,
Yeah. Yeah. That reminds me of a lot of people, that a lot of like coaching clients that take on, and they're just so concerned about how much time they have to put into it.
I do.
It's like, oh man, like he doesn't seem like he wants to work.
I got one for you, Daniel. I still do a lot of calls, I'll be honest, but I used to do a lot more, right?
Yeah. And I like calls.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. And it was like when the company I was a part of was saying get away from calls, I was on the calls. That's how I was getting all my deals and big ticket sales or whatever. So I would tell people and break down to people, like, here's what you need to do when you get in, and here's the process. Like, I would break it down for them, and they love that because they're like, all right, well, now that I know what the picture looks like, I'm all in, or I'm in, or whatever, right? But I would have people ask me, like, the last question would be like, all right, so before I send you $5,000 or $3,000 or $1,000 or $500, whatever it was, before I send you my money, right? Do I have to get on the phone like you? And I was kind of floored by that question because I would tell them this would be like my rebuttal was like, well, Daniel, let me ask you a question. If I didn't get on the phone with you and break this down for you and become your friend and build this relationship, would you be sending me $5,000? And they're kind of like, no. So let me ask you another question. Do you want people sending you $5,000? Yeah. So then just do what I do. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like I'm on the phone with them there. They loved it. That was what built the relationship. But they're asking me, do I got to do the same thing? So it's like you want the results that I have, but you don't want to put in the heart, the passion, and the effort to build the relationship. So yeah. I actually used to laugh at that one. It's not that funny, but I'd laugh. I'd be like, seriously? You know, and this is somebody on the line about to send me $5,000. I would literally laugh, and I would kind of like dig into them a little bit and emphasize the fact that, yeah, you got to help people. You know, there's ways to make money, like by pressing buttons and not talking to anybody. Sure. But you're in the same position I am. So if you're going to want to make the $5,000 commissions, yeah, you do got to get on the phone. And 9 times out of 10, of course, 9 times out of 10, not every time, they'd be like, okay, I'm in. You know, it's like, yeah. So then why'd you even ask? You know what I mean? But sometimes people just want to know. And that's another thing is I feel like when you break things down for people, they're not as blind. They know what's going on, you know?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I call it like acknowledging like the elephant in the pink elephant in the room, you know, like just not acting like something's not there. Like, yeah, you do got to call people. I mean, do you want this? Do you want a better life for you and your family? Like I always tell people, like, you got to have heart, and you got to do things that you're afraid to do, you know? And, I always try to encourage people, just do things that you're afraid to do, you know, like that's one of my big, I always tell people, like, when they ask me for advice, I'm like, you got to just start doing things you're afraid to do, you know, and just, like there's something that I do. I just do, like, if I'm afraid to do something, I just do it. And I just do it like it's the last thing that I'm ever doing on this earth. And I don't care if I die doing it. Like, that's kind of like how I think. That's how I psych myself out of when I'm afraid, my fear. I just say, I'm just going to do this like it's the last thing I ever do. I don't care if I die doing it. Like, you know what I mean? Like, that's how I psych myself out. Like, I'm like, I act like it's my last moment on earth. It's like, that's one of my little secrets.
I can relate, dude. Like, I mean, sometimes there's things you don't want to do, whether, like a lot of people struggle with video or live streams or talking on the phone. And I can relate. Like, when you think of like people not having like limbs, right? Like not having arms, or, you know what I mean? Like not being able to see or hear, like it makes you really feel like, you know what? I could easily jump on here and do this video. You know what I mean? Like, it's like things could be so much worse. And I think that's just, again, it's a good perspective. And dude, I'm super humbled by, coming and hanging out with you, man, because like you get to know me a little better. It's doing the same for me. So I love it, man.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So I have only a few minutes left before I have to close it out. Right. I got a couple questions. We've been just having so much fun talking, It's like,
I know. I'll make these ones quick.
That's cool. It's cool. We'll do our best. Squeeze these in. So, is there anything about Jermaine that not a lot of people know? I always like to ask this one because this is like the where people can get to know, like, and trust you and know you better, pretty much. Really, is there anything that something that you do that not a lot of people that that know you know about you?
Well, I was going to say I wear my shades at night, right? But they know that. Most people know that. It's kind of part of my brand,
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
Something that people don't know about me, man, that's like a deep question, right? Because you're kind of like, I mean, I guess for me, because most of my audience knows, I'm from the hood, I'm from the streets. You know what I mean? I went through a lot of things to get where I'm at. So I'm very
transparent.
Very transparent. Yeah. So I'm trying to think of like something that, so Justin Beringia, he interviewed me as well. And when he asked that question, and I kind of said this earlier, but I'm just very, like even at events, when I have events at mansions and stuff, it's like, it'd be like 1 o'clock in the morning and I'm like, and I have someone doing the cleanup or taking out the trash, but I'm just very like OCD, again, so I'm very ordersome, but then there's things that I'm not ordersome about, you know what I mean? So it's kind of weird. So that was the question he had, was like something weird about it. She was like, I don't know, I guess I'm kind of OCD and that's what my kids call me and Ashley calls me. And it's just more so, again, a lot of times, what needs to be done. It's like, you're not going to stop until it's done. So I guess that, whether it's, around the house cleaning up or, when we're hosting events or whatever, I can be semi, intensive about certain things that maybe I don't need to be. You know what I mean? So,
yeah. Yep. I can relate to that too. So, all right, awesome, man, awesome. How about so there's gonna be two questions left here.
Okay.
One's gonna be one is there any book recommendations that you recommend for anybody out there? This is something I ask every week too.
So I gave my son, he's 18, so like, this would be someone like just coming into the industry. Maybe, the younger audience for one of them, like Rich Dad, Poor Dad. I read that as a youngster, or a youngster. My son's 18, he's reading it now. So Rich Dad, Poor Dad really gives some good perspective, and then I would say, of course, Think and Grow Rich, so I don't know how many times people have said that, but.
Well, I had Paul Hutchins on here like a week or two ago. Obviously that was his,
Oh, yeah. Yeah, shout out to Paul. Definitely, yeah, he's the Think and Grow Rich.
Yeah, so I'm gonna put the Rich Dad Poor Dad there in the comment thread. So thank you for that. I can relate to that one too, and cool. I really like that one actually. That was actually I've read a decent amount of books, mostly listened to them, and that was actually one that I was actually able to read out of the book and go like pretty straight through it. I don't know if you can relate to that or not, but it was like it entertained me enough to where it was like storytelling and like, but there's value. Like I was like entertained the whole time. Yep. Same thing with 3 Feet from Gold too. I was able to actually read that out of a book too instead of listen to it, and I enjoyed that one too. I don't know if you read that one or not, but
yeah, but I will now.
I was able to read it like out of a book and like read it straight through, like into like in like a week's time or 5 days maybe or something like that. And I was addicted to it. It was very easy to read out of a book, and I'm not always that way. I usually like to listen to audio. So awesome, man, awesome. This is a great hangout. I really enjoyed it. I feel like I grew a lot. I think the audience will definitely, will have grown. If they catch on the replay or if they watch it live, same thing. So the last question is how can people find Jermaine? How can people find Jermaine Steele? Because this is going to be uploaded onto my YouTube channel. It's archived on there as well, so people are going to need to know like your @ symbols and things like that if you have any.
Okay, yeah, just jump on a plane and go to Fresno, California, and then no, I'm joking. Just go to Facebook and type in Jermaine Steele and look for me there. You know what I mean? I don't have any special, link.
Yeah, that's a good answer. It's probably the same thing with anywhere, probably imagine, because you've been doing this for a while. When you're pumping out content, right? It's not that hard to find somebody who's pumping out content.
Yep.
There's lots of Daniel McCalls, but I think I'm the most popular one on the internet now. I'm not sure.
You definitely. I don't know.
I got like when I first started, I was like, who are all these damn McCalls? I'm like, who are all these? Now I type in Google and lots of pictures and things of me pop up. I'm like, all right, there I am.
Yeah,
I had to fight for that position.
I had one person ask me because they Googled Jermaine Steele, right? And there's like one that like there's like this convict, like this felon, right? And he's like, "That's not you, right?" And I'm like, no. So yeah, I'm a little bit lighter than the other Jermaine Steele on there, but anyway, yeah.
That's great.
Yep.
Awesome, man. Awesome. So last thing is not really a question, but a last thing here, I like to just ask if you have any you have any last words of encouragement or anything like that you like to share?
Yeah, I mean, again, the way you ask these questions, I think really kind of ascended people to, like, you know what I mean? What I would do if I started from scratch or whatever the case may be. So my advice is, like, listen to this interview again, like really pay attention to what Daniel's saying, to what I'm saying. And, you know, if you're just getting started, and be consistent and don't give up. Know that there's people that will believe in you, whether it's Daniel, myself, or your mentor, and just listen. Because, you know, a lot of times we speak more than we listen. And that would be my advice, is listen to your mentor, believe in yourself. And I always tell people, never give up, don't quit. If you stay in the game, you know, you win by default. I mean, you're going to win at some level. You know, we might not be doing $100,000, $200,000 a month yet, right? But I know that those months are here, you know, are to come as we stay consistent. And that's what it's all about, you know, and that would be my advice, is just stay consistent, believe in yourself, and find a mentor.
Yeah. Awesome, man. Awesome. Yeah. I love the way you said it, even rewatch the video. I mean, I almost feel like I could rewatch the video and learn something. I mean, that's how, like, hey, I feel like we got pretty deep on some stuff. So
I'll take it to this level and I'll say, me too. Me too.
That's what I'm talking about.
Me too.
So, all right. So we're closing out. You know, thank you for joining us here on Whatever It Takes Wednesday. This was episode number 25, and we'll see you on the next hangout. You know, thank you again, Jermaine, for coming on. I really appreciate you.
Thank you, Daniel. Thank you.
Closing out.
I'm humbled, brother. I'll see you soon.